The true story depicted in this short video shows how gun-free school zones endanger our kids. As the old adage says, if guns are outlawed, only outlaws will have guns. Moved by good intentions, Congress passed the 1990 Gun-Free School Zones Act. Americans, especially moms like me, hoped it would keep children safe. But within a few years, the Supreme Court ruled the act unconstitutional. Then in 1996, President Clinton, Attorney General Janet Reno, and Congress revived gun-free school zones with legislative shenanigans buried in an appropriations bill. Gun-free zones are danger zones. And they haven't stopped a thing. Criminals are shooting up schools at an ever-increasing and unprecedented rate. Since Columbine, there have been dozens of mass school shootings. 2012 was the worst year yet. More than 150 victims of mass shootings. Our children are sitting ducks. But even after Newtown, a surprising number of journalists, pundits, and politicians still think gun-free school zones work. And President Obama, Congress, and politicians in all 50 states are feverishly working toward even more potentially dangerous gun control measures. One notorious massacre in a gun-free school zone happened at Pearl High School in Pearl, Mississippi. October 1st, 1997 was another typical day in Pearl as teenagers made their way into the high school. Meanwhile, the killer awoke angry at the world. He killed his mother with a knife, then he stole a family deer rifle and proceeded to violate the Pearl High School gun-free zone. Vice Principal Joel Myrick had obeyed the gun-free zone that day, and every day, against his better judgment. The principal parked outside of the gun-free zone that morning because a gun was locked in a safe in his truck. The gun-free zone kept him from bringing it anywhere near his office, even in a quick-release safe, and it kept him from bringing it anywhere near the shooter. If he'd had a gun, the principal could have taken out the killer. Without his gun, there was no way to end the killing spree. So he ran to his truck to retrieve his gun, then he ran back to the school. The shooter knew cops would come soon. He had a plan to leave the high school and go to a nearby junior high to shoot more kids before anyone could stop him. He made it to his car and was leaving for the other school. Just then, the principal showed up with his gun. The killer stopped and Mr. Myrick ordered him out of the car and onto the ground.
"Why are you shooting up my kids?"
"Because people like me are mistreated every day. I did this to show society, push us and we will push back. All throughout my life I was ridiculed, always beaten, always hated."
"Who are you? State your name."
"You know, Mr. Myrick, it's me, Luke. You tipped me good last week when I delivered a pizza to your house."
"Oh, dear God. One of my own students?"
Police eventually arrived and arrested the killer without incident. Media mostly ignored the principal's heroic act, even though he had prevented yet another school shooting. Only God knows how many kids the principal and his gun saved that day. When interviewed years later, the principal explained that he could have stopped the killer sooner if it had not been for the gun-free zone that put great distance between him and his gun. The principal obeyed the gun-free zone. The killer did not. The Gun-Free Zones Act has disarmed countless well-trained, law-abiding teachers and administrators, but has not deterred killers in more than 60 massacres since. Maybe gun-free zones don't work. Maybe they are killing our kids.